Again guys, another book review. I get through books pretty quickly, so at the moment I've got a lot of revision to do for my exams, so I might not be reading as much, but I'll still be reading and book reviewing and stuff. This time it's Entangled by Cat Clarke. I was excited to read this. I hadn't really heard anything about it, but when I looked into it I saw that it is quite a popular book. Unfortunately, it was one of those books that the summary sounds better than the actual book is, which is always a letdown. I'll start by reading you the actual summary and we can go from there. The same questions whirl around and around in my head. What does he want from me? How could I let this happen? Am I going to die? 17-year-old Grace wakes up in a white room with a table, pens and paper and no clue how she got there. As Grace pours her tangled life onto the page, she's forced to remember everything she's tried to forget. There's falling hopelessly in love with the gorgeous Nat, and the unravelling of her relationship with her best friend Sal. But there's something missing. Grace must face the most important question of all. Why is she here? A story of dangerous secrets, intense friendship, and electrifying attraction. So it sounds pretty good, and I was excited to read it, because it sounds like my sort of thing, but for once not a paranormal type thing, which is really rare for me, but it was still a sort of thing that really caught my eye. Like I said, it wasn't as good as I expected it to be. Basically, as it says, Grace wakes up in a room, but there's more to it than the summary really says. The first line in this book is really, really gripping. I met Ethan the night I was planning to kill myself. Pretty inconvenient when you think about it. I know that's 2 lines, but still. So that really draws you in straight away. Grace is, as it says, 17 years old. Her dad died a few years earlier. I'm not going to tell you how, because that's revealed later on. And if you're going to read this, then I'm not going to tell you, because I don't want you to spoil it for you. She ends up getting with this. Basically, she's in the room, and the book kind of flashes back. She writes, as it says, about her life and how everything started. And so you flip from the present, where she's with this Ethan, asking him all these questions and such, to the past, but it's in more detail, the past is, than the actual present, if that makes sense. So it can be a little bit confusing. I was told it was a very confusing book. I didn't find it that confusing, but then the person that told me it might not be so astute without being offensive. It was quite predictable in that I could see what was going to happen a long time before. The end was a little bit less predictable, but the rest was pretty mediocre predictable wise. It had the potential to be an amazing book. It was well written. Cat Clarke's definitely a good author or authoress, and I would read stuff of hers again, but yeah. She talks about Nat, who is her boyfriend. It's kind of ironic. My ex is called Nat, well, Nathaniel, and her ex is as well, or her boyfriend is, and they're like really alike, so it's kind of awkward me reading this, but still, that didn't put me off it. She's in love with this boyfriend. Her friend she stops talking to for months, her best friend Sal, because she gets pregnant, Sal does, won't tell her who the father is, and blah blah blah, and has an abortion, but on the day of the abortion she blames it all on Grace, which isn't her fault, and they stop talking for months. Eventually they make up, and it was so obvious what was happening. There were a few things Sal wasn't telling her, a few things Nat wasn't telling her, and it was so obvious that I was really disappointed when it actually properly came revealed. If any of you are anything like me, you hate endings. I'm not going to tell you the ending, obviously, but you hate endings that are really rubbish and don't answer questions. I think they call it an open ending so that the readers can use their imagination, but there's so many questions they don't have answered, and I was so annoyed when I read the end of it today. So, I mean, positives, it is really good, in that it's just easy to read. I obviously liked it enough to carry on reading, and I did enjoy it. It's just, it was predictable and such a letdown at the end. I watched a film last night that had a really bad ending as well, and I just hate endings like that, when half the time none of your questions are answered. If there's a sequel, fine, but there's not a sequel to this. It's a one-off, because how it ends, you don't really know what happens, and it's not supposed to be a sequel. I've read stuff of hers that she said in interviews and stuff that this is an open-ended book, or whatever you call it. So I wasn't very happy with that. But like I said, it is a good read. To give it a go, because you might find it brilliant. I did really like it, and there's a lot of praise for it. I quite like the cover, actually. I'm having my hair that colour soon. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Yeah, the cover's quite nice. Oh, about the chapters. Each of the chapters is a different day. I'm not sure if you can see that. Day 3. That's where it starts. Of how long she's been there for, in this room, kidnapped, or whatever she is. Yeah, it goes on. I don't know what today is about, how much it goes up to, how many days there are. I don't really know. But yeah, that was good, because you thought it was building up to something, but it was kind of an anticlimax. I have my own idea of what did happen that we weren't told about, but I'm not going to share that because I might spoil it. But if you've read this and would like to discuss with me what you think actually happened at the end, like message me or something, you can tweet me. My Twitter will be in the bottom. You can go on Tumblr. My Tumblr will be in the bottom. Or you can just PM me on YouTube, whatever. So, or you can comment in the section, but put spoilers, please, because if people are going to read it, then don't spoil it for them, because that's horrible. You'll hate that. So yeah, overall, I would give this either 3.5 stars or 3.5 stars. It was well written, but a bit predictable and a bit of a letdown. As for what I'm reading next, earlier on in the middle of my revision, when I had a break, I started reading this Nearly Departed by Rook Hastings. My library books are going back tomorrow, so I might be able to finish this now, but in a day. But if not, then I will not continue. I'll just take it back, because it's just going to be easier for me. I don't really have an opportunity to take it back to the library all the time, so I will have to either read this in a day or not read it, like get halfway through or whatever. At the moment it's not that hooking, but it might. I'm only 17 pages in, so it doesn't really, I can't really judge. So you might have a review on this one soon. If not, then it will probably be Trial by Fire, which is the sequel to Raised by Wolves. Yeah, because I'm really looking forward to reading that one. I hope it's not a letdown. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you've done a review to this, tell me. If you've got any requests for me to read and do a review of, also tell me. If you've written anything as well that you want me to do a review of that you've put online on Wattpad or fan fiction even, what's the other one called? Can't even remember. I can't even remember what the other one's called. That's really bad, isn't it? Fiction Press, is it? No. That is one, but I can't remember. It's the sister site to fanfiction.net, which is the one that's not a fanfiction site. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, it doesn't matter anyway, because you probably know. But anything, if there's anything on any website you want me to do a proper review of it, ask me, because I will, because I like reading stuff and reviewing stuff. So yeah, again, thank you for watching. I'm putting another video up of me singing, like, after this one. So yeah, thank you.